Hi, someone requested I do a shred tutor video, teaching video, so I thought I would do that. I said I would, and so I'm doing it now. How you guys doing? Hope you're having a good night. Um, um, just jump right into it, I guess. To me, there's three main things about playing that could be taught. First is what you play. That's like theory. Second is how to play it. That's like technique. And thirdly is when to play it. That's like rhythm. And there's other things like guitar setup and tone and setups and amps and things, but mostly those are the three main categories of things I'd like to teach. So theory, technique, and rhythm, because there's rhythm in note playing too. It's not just rhythm isn't just for rhythm guitar playing. Rhythm is for lead guitar playing too. Rhythm is just the timing of any music, and all music involves time unless it's just a static note or silence. But anyway, all right. So let's just start with what to play, which we could call it theory. I believe you should know at any given time what key you're in, what mode you're using, and well, let's start again. What key you're in, what scale you're using, and what mode of that scale you're using. But but to start, there's three main categories of scales to me. There's the major scale, which there's 12 of those because there's 12 keys it could be in. The harmonic minor scale, and there's 12 of those because there's 12 keys it could be in, and the minor pentatonic or blues scale. Those kind of both go together, and there's 12 of those because there's 12 keys those could be in. So let's start with one of the, so let's start with that's I think you should know at any given time what key you're in and what the structure and or fingering of that scale is. So let's just say, to start with, let's just say I wanted to test that in myself. Let's say I wanted to play a C sharp major scale. Well, C sharp is the ninth fret of the high E string or low E string. From there, I know it's for major scale, it's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So I would just go da da da. Something like that. And that would be linear. That'd be linearly. Likewise, I could also play it positionally. And I shouldn't have to think of doing one or the other. I should be able to do both or mix it together and just play C sharp major in any place I want all over the neck. So that could be something like this. So, and that was just one example of a key and one of the three categories of scales, which is major scale. But that could be anything. Let's say B harmonic minor. All right. Well, I goofed a little bit there, but I'm not perfect. But get the idea. If I do it right and I do it a good take, usually then I did it. I think I tried to play in position up here. I was going something. Oh, here's what I did. We can try that again. Let's see. That's what I meant to play. Okay, then I would go. Same there. You know, that all didn't sound like crap maybe, but it wasn't all what I might have meant to play if I were playing in trying to play B harmonic minor scale. But when you're really improvising real music, you're not always stuck to one thing, and if you don't play that note right, you blew it. You kind of go with the flow, and if you make a mistake, just go with it, or play it again, as Eddie Van Halen said. And it don't sound like you meant to do that. But there's still a good time to know exactly what you're playing and don't mess it up. But I picked this random scale there, and I hadn't thought about it and wasn't prepared to never make a mistake in that. But you get the gist of it. Now for the third category, let's say minor pentatonic blues scale. Let's say G sharp minor pentatonic blues. Okay, so I could try. There we go. Gist of that. So that's basically know what key you're in, what scale you're using, what category scale it is, and there's other kind of scales too. And there's scales that aren't totally tonal. There's weird tonal scales, but that's the three main categories of scales to me, and what mode you're using of that. So you can learn that on your own. You can Google it and learn it. And I'm just telling you that to learn it. And so there's that. Now technique. That's interesting. It's one of my favorite things. Well, they're all good because they're all important. You can't have it's hard to do music without any one of those categories. One of the main techniques I think is important is picking. It's one of the last things people get to, and sometimes they don't get to it, which makes it even more important. But there's two main categories, and I try to do neither one, but I know they exist and I can explain them. One is the perfect alternate picking technique, where you never ever do anything but down up down up down up, like Paul Gilbert style. I don't advocate that because sometimes it makes it harder to stretch outside the string, inside the string, and never make a mistake. And for what point? I mean, as long as you get the gist of alternate picking, it still sounds good. So to give an example of that, let's start with what Paul would do, and then what I would kind of not have to try to do that. Paul thinks it always has to be down up down up. So if you cross a string and you are on the wrong side of it, you have to go outside that string set. But if you're inside it, that's the other choice. Whereas and to me, I just go with the flow, whatever feels right. Paul would say down up 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 down up, and that's cool. And that's cool, but why not just go? It still sounds good. It may be a little not polished, but I can do that too if I like it. But it ties me down too much when I'm improvising, and I don't think it sounds significantly better enough than my method to render the effort it takes to do that all the time. Too much thinking for me, and for what? Mine still sounds good. The other extreme to that is the Frank Amoli idea of the economy picking, and that is where you never miss a chance to sweep across the strings. And I don't do that either because you're still limited. He believed in odd even numbers of strings, picks per string, so he could never have to not sweep. But I just go with the flow on that too. So whereas Frank would go, let's say, he might do something like, I'm going to play an arpeggio, and he might go. The thing is kind of swept feel. And first of all, I don't think that sounds that much greater than any other than my way. And also it limits you because you have to think too hard again about. He goes, well, I go down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Everything is regimented, and for me, if I want to sweep, I can just do that. But I'm not hung up and stuck and have to pick a certain way. I just do whatever. I just believe it's important to be able to do basic technique, and the two main picking techniques are alternate picking and sweep picking. You should be able to do those, but I don't get hung up in the technicality of whether you're starting or ending on an upstroke or doing a different upstroke or downstroke on this string or that string. I just know as long as you can sweep. And as long as you can alternate pick. you're good. Just go with the flow and make music with it. I don't know. And that's hard enough, much less worrying about the technicality of am I alternate picking it, perfect stroke perfectly, and or am I economy picking everything perfectly? I don't see that benefit to that. In fact, it's more work on the player than the listener even cares, I think. And I get the same effect just by doing it my sloppier way, I think. But whatever. At least I put the methods out there for you. You want to play like Frank, look him up. He believes in and Paul is down up down, but that's just not my style or method. But anyway, I'm going on about that. Next is then there's other kinds of techniques too. I think it's important with left-hand technique. I'm going to get back to right-hand taking in a minute. It's not right-hand taking isn't just picking. It's also tapping. But before I get to that, let me talk about left-hand technique. Please use your little finger if you don't already. Eric Johnson says it gives a different tone, a different vibe. Even if you don't need to play a note with that finger, it just gives a different feel. Like in his lifted over thing. That he thinks that sounds different than if I try to do it without the little finger. Already it sounds like I'm a monkey, and I don't even want to practice that because it'll get under my fingers, and I don't want to do it that way. It sounds different using the little finger versus not, and not just in that little lick he does in anything. If I don't use, I'm going to play a lick here in E Dorian, and I'm going to start out not using my pinky. Then I'm going to play with my pinky, and you'll hear the difference. First of all, no pinky. Here's just the three main fingers. That sounded kind of sloppy and monkey-ish, but now I'm going to use the pinky. A much cleaner, prettier, nicer, different vibe. It's kind of like being a surgeon and being told, no, don't use your first finger. Well, you can use all fingers when you're in surgery. You don't want to limit yourself to one thing. And you might be able to do it with two fingers. The technique only may involve necessarily using two fingers, but you want to be able to think, well, I can use all fingers if I want to. And same with same with playing to me. Don't always have to use your pinky, but it's good to be able to whenever you so you can when you want to, and it's good to want to a lot because it's a prettier, nicer sound, a little tighter to me than just the three fingers. I don't even like doing that. I sound bad at it because I don't even want to play that. But let me just give an example. So if you like to use your little finger, just use. They say it's slower and dumber than the other fingers. Well, smarten it up and speed it up. Make the little finger equal to the others. You're only as fast as your slowest finger. So that means you're as fast as your pinky most of the time. Get that pinky fast, and you'll be all right left-handed wise. Then there's tapping. Now, there's like many different ways of thinking of tapping too, as far as finger goes. Eddie Van Halen, the greatest. He may not have been the greatest tapper, but he invented it, so he gets to do it however he wants. He gets licensed for that, and he picked with his middle finger and thumb, and then tapped with his first finger. Well, that's cool if you're Eddie Van Halen, but I'm not, and neither are you, I don't think, because I'm not talking to Eddie because he's not here with us. Sorry about that. But for me, there's two other choices. You can either tap with your second and third fingers and hold the pick like normal. By normal, I mean first finger and thumb, or you can pick with this and then sleight of hand go to the Eddie Van Halen method and tap with the first finger. Paul Gilbert does this. I don't like that. It looks weird. It looks like unnatural, and I don't like the look of thinking he's going to drop his pick doing this. And I just think it sounds cooler and it's a lot easier just to tap with your second and third finger, which Steve Vai does. He's my favorite tapper in rock and roll because he does it the way I like. Doesn't mean that makes it right or it makes it better. It's just that's what I like. So I'm going to show you some tapping. I don't do the Paul Gilbert thing. I don't mean to rag on Paul Gilbert. In fact, we're born a month apart. He's 11/6/66. I'm 12/6/66. So we're already tied together somehow. Maybe that's why I'm talking about him so much. But the Steve Vai and I are too, because he was born 6/6/60. And I was born 12/6/66. That's 6 years, 6 months apart, and we both have 6/6/6. And then I talk about Randy sometimes. Randy was born 12/6/56. I'm 12/6/66. So we're 10 years apart to the day. So those players and I all have karma together, and I think a lot like them and think of them a lot when I think of music. So sorry if I'm going on about those certain players. Anyway, tapping. So I just do that, you know. I'm holding the pick like I normally would pick, and I'm tapping with my second and third fingers. Whatever, I'm not trying to show off the lick. I'm just telling you that I like to use the Steve Vai method of tapping with the second and third fingers. I don't really use the pinky because that's not really, I'm not on that level as a tapper. I'm not a tapper extraordinaire. I'm just a tapper. So, just, you know, normal tapping. Okay, so that's technique. And then don't forget about other parts of technique besides what I just mentioned, which is vibrato and whammy bar technique. I mean, that's important too. There's string bending, which is stretching to a note, and there's the up and down with it. They call that vibrato. So they actually break down into string stretching and vibrato. To me, it's all just bending strings, but whatever. Bend, vibrato, whammy bar, harmonic. You know, artificial harmonic. You know, whatever. There's vibrato thing too. You know, you don't want to be like a anybody calls it a goat when you sing without vibrato. You don't want to play a player that can't ever bend strings. You know, you want to be able to bend strings, have fun with it too when you're playing. The expression to it, you know. You don't want to be all chops and no bending. You know, so have bending too. And then that's mainly technique to me. So I'm going to go into rhythm. I'm just making this a one quick lesson. I mean, it may not even be quick, because maybe half an hour by the time I'm done, but I'm trying to throw out as much things as I can here as I can. Rhythm's important. I decided 12 years ago that I was either going to learn rhythm or I was going to quit guitar. Fortunately, I learned rhythm. God meant that I was going to quit, but I learned it. And just learn your rhythm. Straight 16ths is four subdivisions, 4 subbeats to the beat. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like Randy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Then there's the triplet feel, which is 3 3 subbeats per beat, which can be also thought of as swung. Swung 8s, which is if you play triplets. And so instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 2, 3. 1 lale, 2 lale, 3 lale, 4 lale. I say lale because it's different than 1 again. You have to separate it and learn it. 1 lale, 2 lale, 3. And that's, I think, of Eddie. Let's see. That's Boogie. So you're thinking three sub beats per beat. It's kind of rock and roll, bluesy, jazzy, swingy, and that's important too. Versus the Randy thing, straight 16ths would be more heavy metal. But you want to be able to do both and anytime switch back and forth. You don't want to do just, I play straight 16ths or I play triplets. No bullshit. You play all of it. Depends on the song, depends on the feel, depends what you want to do. I don't want to be just a rock player. I don't want to be just a metal player. I want to be a guitar player. And that means rock and metal to me. So learn your swing, and learn your 16th. 1, 2, 1, 2 versus 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Learn them both. And then there's the time signatures. I was assuming there it was 4/4, but there's also 3/4. There's waltz. There's 5/4, which is more of a fusion odd time thing. That's important. Let's say I'm in 4/4, which is almost everything is. Then that's basically the examples I gave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Those are swing versus 16ths, but it was still 4/4. But what about if you're in 3/4? Like Happy Birthday or Star Spangled Banner. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I don't know happy birthday, but you know, there's that. That's called a waltz. It's 3/4 time. Here's one I like by Bach. I think it's by Bach. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, don't just play 4/4 all the time. Know how to play 3/4. And then there's 5/4. Mission Impossible something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And Jimmy Page did a bunch of wonderful stuff with that kind of idea, but not just always 5. Maybe 7s, maybe 6s. 2, 3, and 4. Wait, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, and 5. Wait, sorry. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 6, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh, it's 7 and 6, 7, 8 alternating with 6, 8. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, 3, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You know, things like Steve I did a thing where it's 16ths. It's 16th notes in 4/4 time, so there's 16th notes in the major, but he breaks it into 9 and 7 instead of 8 and 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's called syncopation also. You change up the you can be in a time signature, but you break it up in different ways. Like if you're in 4/4 time, you have 8 eighth notes per beat per measure, but you can break that into 3, 3, and 2 instead of 4 and 4. Jimmie Page did that a lot too. I'll just give an example of that for myself. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So is 8, but it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This rhythm it's important. There's a bunch of cool things with it. And then there's higher time signatures with a 7, 8, and 9, 8, and all that. I didn't prepare any particular material for this lesson. I didn't even think about what I was going to say. But so obviously I haven't counted out Jimmie Page's The Ocean that many times out loud, or I would be better at it. But I play it fine. 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 1, 2, 3. Technically, you could think of it as 13, 8, but I'm not going to do that. That's pretty obtuse. So that's like 7, 8, alternating with 6, 8. So there are different ways of breaking up rhythmically things, and that's one of the things that makes music interesting too. And fortunately, I learned it, or I was going to quit guitar. If I was going to be a rhythmless player for the rest of my life, I was going to say, screw it, I'm not going to play anymore. But guess what? One article saved me and taught me it, and from there I did it all myself, was Steve Vai's Temperamental article written in 1983. That if I could read that and get through it, everything else would be fine. And I did read it, got through it, and I got through it, then everything else was fine. I can learn it. I really do know my rhythm pretty good. Anyway, so thanks for joining with this lesson. It was intentionally brief, but yet hopefully covered a lot of stuff. And I wasn't trying to show off by playing. Or teaching you licks that you can learn yourself or other people can teach you. I want you to get the concept of what I think is important in music. The playing was only to show it demonstration-wise. I often don't even try to come off the greatest all the time when I do things. For some reason, like if I'm playing and it's too perfect, sometimes I screw it up a little bit just so I seem more human. Not that I'm saying I'm not human, but I like the idea that I can make a mistake. And I don't like to think, I did that perfectly, and boy, I better do that right every time. Sometimes if I'm doing too good, I just let it go a little bit. Just why not? Have some more fun. Surprise the audience. Make them surprised when you do hit it right, instead of just, well, he always plays it right. So what? He thinks he's perfect. I don't like to do that. I could really go on harmonics, but I often don't do that. I'll go. I have fun with it. I don't have to be. I got to be perfect all the time. That's more sports. Music is not a sport. It's entertainment, and it's energy, and it's life, and it's thought, and it's spirituality. It's not just who won the game. I never really got into that. I mean, I can do that good. In fact, I did frisbee, and I played baseball, and I was pretty good. But I didn't do that because I didn't like the idea of, well, we won that, they won that. Now we're going to win this, they're going to win that. Screw it. I don't care. I like to play baseball, but I don't worry about the stats and the scores. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great day. I hope I enjoyed this video, and rock on and keep on rocking and walking. Shirtless Guy 66 here. Have an awesome night. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.